Hello and welcome. You're watching Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle. I'm Gaurav Kapur. And joining me from Ahmedabad, I have two wonderful, smiley, sunshiny gents, Mr. Harsha Bhogle and Mr. Simon Doull. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Thank you. I noticed that the well-built, rugged man in black, so I quickly went and changed into a different color.
I'm very good too, Gaurav. You might have noticed that my flowers have actually died, so I got rid of the flowers and I sent out for a Ming vase. So
Is that worth more than our entire show, all of us on it? It can't be worth more than Mr. Bhogle.
No.
Because there is no vase in the Ming dynasty that could do that.
As I said, Hyderabad, सुबह कोई नहीं मिला क्या?
Simon, that means that you haven't found anyone since the morning that you're picking on me.
What means?
Let's translate the joke as well. But today, let's focus on the game today. The game today is no joke at all. Well, it's the big one. They call it the Clasico. Who's they, by the way? Who's these they? We keep saying they call it. Anyway, it's Mumbai. It's Mumbai playing Chennai in Delhi. Those are three words that are usually not in the same sentence very often. Mumbai, Delhi, and Chennai. But they're playing the game there today. And I'll tell you another thing that's not a joke. It is the raging pandemic that is happening, especially in India. So the message we'd like to give all of you is just be safe. Be safe, take care of yourself, take care of the loved ones around you, take care of your families. Follow all the protocols that you can, and together we can and we will get through this. And I know that both Harsha and Simon would like to add to that. So before we begin proceedings, Harsha, over to you.
Yeah, one of the things I'd like to say is on this program, we laugh a lot. And some people might think, how can you laugh when a pandemic is on? And the reason we do is if we are enjoying what we do, then maybe we can bring a smile to your lips as well. What the athletes on the field are doing is at a different level. They're trying hard. And I've had so many people, Gaurav, so many people on my Twitter feed saying for 4 hours, we tend to forget what is happening. It can never take over what is happening, but at least it allows us a little smile. And that is why I think we must have sport. But I will tell everybody, please avoid gatherings, avoid congregations. And wherever possible, please get vaccinated. For some reason, I noticed initially there was certain hesitation to get vaccinated. Please don't. Anywhere in the world, wherever the pandemic's been, well, it's not been conquered, but they're starting to win over, it's with vaccinations.
Yeah, and just be kind, you know. I mean, the hardest thing in these times is friends and family are going through a really tough time. And I know we're getting messages from our friends, our family back in New Zealand, that overseas players the local players, I'm sure, are worried about their family, their friends. Our crew, I talked to our TV crew, and, you know, in each one of our TV crews, there's 80 to 90 people whose families at home are worried about them. But it's check on your families, you know, check on your friends, make sure everyone's okay, and just be kind. And like Harsha and you have said, Gaurav, just, you know, vaccinate whenever you can, as soon as you can, and just follow the protocols. And I'm sure that what we're bringing you and what the players are bringing you is just a small little moment of maybe a little bit of joy, and you can just momentarily forget about, you know, what is going on out there and enjoy some cricket as well.
I can tell you this from personal experience that with my parents, and they had both tested positive, and that was a rough time. And every evening, my parents would sit down and watch the cricket, and my mother, first time in 14 years of me doing the IPL, would call and say, "This guy did really well yesterday. He batted well. He got some runs." I'm like, "Mums, what's going on with you?" But that is something that in isolation.
Did you ask are these Sam and Tom brothers? Why are they playing in different teams?
There's been a lot of questions, and I'll tell you one thing with them is that while in isolation, sport is the one thing that they could agree on television. It's not a film because one is too violent or maybe it's too senseless. It's some shows are just too regressive, and the news, well, it's both violent and regressive.
So do they have a team? Do they have a team? Gee, or who's there?
I think my mother's loyalty is floating.
Okay.
I think it may just go with what is looking like a good color on television in terms of outfits.
It's a great thing. That's the way to pick a racehorse. When you've never been to the races before, right? You go to the races and you say, "I've never had a bet on a horse or never picked a horse to win." You just pick a color you like, whatever the silks are. Just pick a color you like and go with it and see what happens.
I like it. Well, today it's blue and gold playing yellow on the other side. So golden dreams all around. And these are two teams that can afford to have golden dreams. They've got 8 trophies between them. 5 for Mumbai, 3 for Chennai. So these are teams that know how to win. These are teams that know how to dominate. These are teams that are comfortable being on top. And from the previous 2 seasons, you had Mumbai that's been ruling the roost. They won both trophies. But this year, we have a different Chennai team. This ain't no dad's army, Mr. Bhogle.
No, this is the Mumbai team wearing yellow and calling itself Chennai.
You have this, and by the way, this is not a joke. You have a proper theory for this. Please wax eloquent on it.
If you look at the Mumbai Indians, the Mumbai lineup that won over the last couple of years, in their top 7, they have a spin bowler and a fast bowler, both of whom can bat. That's the 2 Pandya brothers. And they've got, of course, Kyron Pollard, who can slip in an over or 2. That's the difference. And a wicket keeper, all batting in the top 7. Then 3 quicks and a spinner in the bottom 4. That's been the Mumbai formula for a long time. Whether it's Bolt, Bumrah, and Coulter-Nile, or whether it was Bolt, Mitch Johnson, and somebody else, or Bumrah, Johnson, and somebody else. Now look what CSK are doing. Deepak Chahar, Sam Curran is the Hardik Pandya. Deepak Chahar, Shardul Thakur, Lungisani Angidi. Then there's Moin Ali and Jadeja who are playing both roles, and Sam Curran and the Supremo who just, whenever he feels like he comes on, just dangles, just plucks the strings.
Yeah, it's and we've got some. Yeah, we've got the numbers to back it up. We will get Wilson, if you could. Yeah, well done. There you go, Simon. Since you are good with numbers and with racehorses and long. What is it? Lambi race ka ghoda in English is what, sir? Long racehorse. Long racehorse. There you go, Simon. The numbers.
But wickets up front and runs at the back end, so they're hurting teams in the power play with the ball. And that's so much down to Deepak Chahar in that power play economy. They're going for under 8 in that first 6 overs. So, they're 40, 44, 45 on average, but 13 wickets. So they're hurting you there. And then at the back end, or just over 12 and over. So the last 4 overs are on average going for 50. And that is crucial. So those are the things. So they're basically almost hitting 2 boundaries and over and going at almost 50 for the last 4 overs. On average, and those numbers, when you hurt teams up front and with the ball, and you hurt teams at the back end with the bat, it's a great recipe for winning games. As long as you're not losing wickets through the middle, which they're not, and generally they're getting off to decent starts now. They've been very faithful to Ruturaj Gaikwad. He's repaying that faith, and I was just about to say he's repaying the faff. But faff at the other end is actually doing a very good job as well. It just seems to have. He's growing, hasn't he? Since game number 1, where he looked a little bit scratchy and patchy, and then he got a little 36 not out, I think it was. And from that time on, he's just been hitting the ball beautifully. So they've got a great recipe. They've got one of the best, if not the best, fielder, and possibly, you could say, the best all-rounder in the competition at the moment in Ravi Jadeja. And they're doing the job.
Yeah. And some of the shots actually...
Yeah. So just to finish that, last year, if you looked at Chennai last year, Chennai were like some of us writing a 2-3 hour exam where we thought there's a lot of time, and we spent a lot of time on the first few questions and then scrambled through towards the end trying to finish as many as came out thinking, we left too many questions. They were playing like that. In the first 10 overs, they were starting a discussion around the table. Okay, what should we do today? What should we eat? It was like a nice little get together, and then a scramble at the end. They were always short. So this year, I think they've realized that, and that's what makes them a good team. They've realized, where are we playing? What kind of team do we need to pick? What kind of freedom do we need to give? And I mean, did you know Jadeja played last year? Did anyone see him in the tournament last year?
Yeah, you're right. And from the point that you're saying, the group discussion in the first 10 overs, if you compare the numbers, they were basically getting in the first 10 what they're getting in the power play now, this year. Yeah. Right? So they saw a problem and they addressed it. What has helped it is Ruturaj Gaikwad has been in fabulous form. There were two bad starts in the first 2 games, and then he's been flowing, like a river that can't be stopped. And then there is Faf, and some of the shots in the previous game, Simon, there was a few threading the needle on the offside that, if you made an NFT of it, I'd buy it.
Yeah, look, it's good to watch, and vastly different, even though both right-handers, very different type players. You've got that sort of strange setup of Faf du Plessis, the wide grip, very strong, down the ground, sort of mid-wicket. Ruturaj Gaikwad plays as good a cover drive as any young Indian batsman. It is just so nice to watch that cover drive of his. So, I think he plays spin relatively well. He's quite aggressive, and it just suits this Chennai side. So, look, he's been a great find for them, and I just love their loyalty. I do. It doesn't matter if you're best, and I've said it time and time again on this show. If your best team is your best team in game number 1, why is it all of a sudden different in game 4?
Yeah, true.
They go by that policy.
Mumbai is the same, Harsha, and that's probably the reason why. If you see where Mumbai is right now, right? I mean, even when there was that traffic jam at 4 points, right? There were 4 teams at 4 points. Somehow you always spoke in terms of panic for the other 3 teams, but never Mumbai. Is it because they're just defending champions twice? Or is that the energy they exude?
Also, because they've got so much pedigree there that if they get it right, then suddenly they can start steamrolling everybody. Their balance is a bit off. I know they won last year without Hardik Pandya bowling as well, but those were different conditions. They could play their 3 fast bowlers. Krunal Pandya was bowling a little better. They could slip in and they could play with 5 bowlers last year. Now this year, I think they're struggling on these pitches, and somehow I think they're not trusting Krunal Pandya as much. So he's batting at 4. He did a fine job batting at 4. That's where he bats for his domestic side. So that's the reason you always think they'll come back. But I think they like playing here. In Delhi's good tracks, slightly small boundaries, but they'll back themselves to chase. They really want to chase on a track like this. Any team wants to. But with Mumbai, because of the history, you always wait for them to turn it around. Yesterday's result wasn't good for them. It was good for the tournament, wasn't good for them. Because they could have been separated from Punjab. And if they win today, they separate from Kolkata as well.
Yeah, well, let me tell you that they are doing what they like. They're chasing. So Mumbai has won the toss and decided that they're going to bowl first, which Simon is actually no surprise, right?
No surprise at all. Just trying to read what Rohit had to say at the toss. We'll bowl first. Looks like a good pitch. We'll get better and better as the game progresses. They've made some tactical changes.
Yes, they have. They've made 2 changes. It's not very often that happens.
I know. Tactical changes. I'll leave it. I'll wait till we put the graphic up. I'm not going to tell you who the tactical changes are. You're going to have to stay there. You're going to have to stay there. But tactical, I like it.
I will say that they have got a quick bowler instead of a spinner. So that's the technical change. And they had a bowling all-rounder who's now batting all-rounder. Foreign player for foreign player. Yeah?
No.
Is that it? Yeah. Okay, let's have a look. I don't know. I'm guessing as well. I haven't seen it. I haven't read the Cricbuzz app.
Of course you have. Come on. So Nisham and Kultan Isle is out. So Nisham in for Kultan Isle, if that's the way you want to look at it, and Dhaval Kulkarni in for Jayant Yadav. So spinner out, seam bowler in, who's vastly experienced. He's been around since Adam played halfback for the Israelites. He's been around that long, hasn't he?
That was probably the most intelligent joke with historical context and high IQ and worldly knowledge that you had to have to crack that. That's probably in the history of Cricbuzz Live. I mean, I honestly just laughed because Simon was laughing. I don't even know what he said. So that's what I'm guessing. It's a very intelligent joke. But the joke is intelligent, but Harsha, are the changes intelligent? Do you agree with the tactical changes that have been made?
Yeah, let's put that graphic up, because they had Jayant Yadav playing the last game, and I'm just looking down this side. They've got Moin Ali, Sam Curran, Suresh Raina, so many, Ravindra Jadeja, so many left-handers up there. I just wonder if they think that the boundary is too short, 55, 60 meters for a finger spinner, and maybe they wanted another quick bowler. I don't know. Look, the whole Kulkarni so they've got 6 bowlers. They're not playing Nisham as 1 of 5. And I think they were a little worried with this Chennai side. Having Kultan Isle at 7, they thought the batting was too little. So they picked Nisham to bolster their batting down at the bottom. And they realize if it's a 180, 190, even maybe a 200 game, then Nisham is the kind of person you need 42 in 3 overs. At the tail end, he'll come and get them for you.
Well, look at the power. Look at the power they've got there with Pandya squared, Pollard, and Nisham to follow Surya. I mean, that is, every one of those guys can hit the ball out of the park and hit it long. That's enormous power.
In terms of the bowling, though, because they're bowling first, they've got, if you think in a way, Neesham, Pollard, I don't know if you count Neesham as a sure short 4-over bowler.
No.
But you've got Neesham, Krunal, and Pollard effectively giving you're hoping they can give you, well, a minimum of 4 and a maximum maybe of 6, because that gives you padding for one of your 4 mains to have a bad day.
2-2-2. If they got 2-2-2 out of those guys, they would be over the moon, I think. Yeah. And then you can afford for one of those others if they're having a bad day, if Kulkarni's having a bad day. I mean, he's got to use the new ball, Harsha, surely. Double Kulkarni. I can't see them opening with Bumrah tonight. I think they'll use double Kulkarni up front. Hopefully, get him through 2. Might even look at a Deepak Chahar type situation and see if he can get through 3. And along with Trent Boult, then use Bumrah and Rahul Chahar through the middle and throw in, a couple of overs of a Neesham or a Krunal and see if they can get through that way.
I wonder if they're backing Bowles to bowl at the end. I know it's not his strength, but if they get 3 from Dhawal Kulkarni up front, or even 2 up front, 1 in the middle, and leave 2 from Trent Boult for the back end because they need some experience at the back end. So maybe that's why they brought a Dhawal Kulkarni in. Was with Mumbai in 2008 as a young bowler. His record.
I told you he's been around.
Yeah. I know, but you just worded it in a sense that, normal people would not be able to.
Yeah.
So his record's very good. Actually, his record's very good. For some reason, it doesn't get picked, but that record is sort of circa 17, up to 17, 18. He's still playing regularly for Mumbai. He's still taking the new ball. And as we said, if he can, they'll want 12 overs out of Chahar, Boult, and Bumrah. Yeah. Now you need 8 more. If Dhawal Kulkarni gives you 3, that's then you need 5 more between Krunal Pandya and Neesham.
Yeah, and the thing is, Harsha was saying he plays for Mumbai, which is the domestic Mumbai team. For Mumbai Indians, he only played 1 game last season. But it's so interesting, Simon, that this is the game they would pick to blood him, right? You're playing in Delhi, where historically their record has not been that good, Mumbai's record, and you're playing against Chennai. I love the fact that Mumbai does this, right? Because obviously this guy's, it doesn't matter whether he's played or not in these colors. He's a seasoned pro. He's been around the block and then.
Yeah, and look, it's more about getting Neesham into the side, isn't it? It's more about that batting protection. And so how do we get that batting protection in? Okay, we have to drop Kulkarni. Therefore, we've got to try and find another seamer. So therefore, we bring an Indian seamer in and we play 1 less spinner and we use Krunal more along with Rahul Chahar. So it's a roundabout way. When you want that batting protection and you get it through an overseas player, you kind of have to make 2 changes.
Yeah.
And so you only want to make 1 change, but you have to make 2 changes all of a sudden. Yeah. It's a weird scenario with only having the 4 overseas players, but so often we see if teams want to change 1 overseas player, they tend to make 2 changes.
Yeah.
Look at this way. They want De Kock. He's a shoo-in. Pollard is a shoo-in. And Trent Boult is a shoo-in. So they've got 3 overseas players. Now they want more batting down, which they don't have an Indian to perform that role because Pandya is not bowling. They don't have an Indian to perform that batting role. So the moment you get Neesham and Kulkarni has to go. If Kulkarni has to go, can you play? You don't want to play Neesham as a frontline seamer. They like playing 3 seamers. So then the only Indian seamer they have available to them, I know there's a couple of young kids they were promising, is Kulkarni. So he's so Dhoni is right that one leads to another.
Yeah, it's happy hours. It's happy hours. 2 for 1, 2 for 1, going once, going twice, and gone. I'll tell you one thing though. You like some nerdy trivia that Deepu gives us. Dhawal Kulkarni took the first wicket ever for the Mumbai team back in 2008. The first wicket ever. Well, yeah. When God said, let there be light, he flicked the switch. Because Sachin would have given him the ball. This joke is layered at so many levels. No idea. Oh, Harbhajan was the captain then. First game, Harbhajan was the captain. We're learning new things all the time. Back in my youth, you see. But let's have a look at the Chennai team. And they are making, no surprise, no change.
Oh, look at all those changes. Wow. They don't make changes unless somebody's injured or fallen over and broken a leg. No, they don't make changes. It's just not their style. Look, it's a good side. It's a successful side, a winning side. They found their formula. We've talked enough about it. I think it's a better side since Ngedi's come into the team. Harsha, they just missed that. and he's not. I know he's not 145, 150. He's not a Rabada Nokia, but he's a good late 130s, and he gives them just that little bit of something else that if they need to ruffle some feathers, he can do it.
Yeah. Some spice. He gives them a little bit of spice. Yes. Well, look at the balance. You look at the options. I mean, this is the team, Harsha, as you were saying. The team is so rich with batting prowess that the captain can just play as a captain. He can just play. He earns his place, I feel, in any team as a tactical magician, as a guy who reads the game from behind the stumps. The edge that he gives you. I mean, that's his all-round capability, right? It's not wicket-keeper batsman anymore. It's wicket-keeper tactician almost. And the batting is, well, if you need it, I'll come in and try to whack it. But he doesn't even need to. Look at that batting lineup. If you just pull it up again, he doesn't really need to come out to bat even till 8 because everyone, even then, is kind of playing one position below where they should be playing.
He's wicket-keeper and commentator with the best one-liners. Sometimes. So he plays that role. But there's one other factor. Why are they not look where they are on the points table and then look at it in that light? They don't need to make changes. Teams at the top of the table are doing something right. They're stable. Mumbai hardly ever made changes last year. They played just one or two maybe here and there, but largely the same teams. Look at Delhi. They had to make changes because they've lost players. Mishra out because of injury. So change is forced on them. Ashwin out to be with his family. So change forced on them. But otherwise, Delhi, very stable. Chennai, very stable. Can you say that about Bangalore? I mean, people might say Bangalore stable. They'll say, are you out of your mind? But Bangalore relatively stable this year too. Yeah. Yeah. Look at the teams that are down. Everyone making changes. Punjab making changes. Hyderabad making changes. Everywhere. They're making changes at the top as well.
Yeah.
No, wait. But Kolkata making no changes. Yeah. Kolkata losing and making no changes.
I think they'll make some changes next game.
I think it's happening. I think Morgan said that now. I think Morgan said it.
I think McCullum also said it.
McCullum, yeah. I think they both have said that it's time to make some changes because they've just been it's just, I don't know, we're not getting it.
Because they're going along like the old Calcutta trams. They're going at about 110.
Where you can walk faster than it, right? You can get out and walk faster than it.
If Calcutta tram went at 110, if Calcutta tram went at 110, the whole city would be a buzz. But whatever units.
It wouldn't be on the tracks anymore because that's the reason for Calcutta.
It's only 110 feet per fortnight.
That is true. Well, you can pick your team as well. It doesn't matter what teams have been picked by the teams. You pick yours on my11circle.com. You download the app. You pick 11 players, mix them up from Chennai and Mumbai. It's going to be a tough one today. Geez, I don't know how you're going to do that. And every match, you get an opportunity of turning 1 into 1 crore. And as we said, it's very difficult because both these teams are star-studded. They're full of great performers. How do you choose just 11 of them? Well, we've dug into some data and picked some smart picks for you. These are 3 players that we think must be in your team. Ravindra Jadeja, Trent Bolt, and Rituraj Gaikwad. I don't really think we need to. It's like preaching to the choir, but we'll still do it anyway. Rituraj Gaikwad, being in fantastic form. Let's see his numbers, and then you'll know that you really have to pick him. And these are his last 3 games. The strike rate is nice and healthy. The scores are good. You have to have him in your team, Harsha.
He started with 5 of 16. Remember? His strike rate earlier on was 5 of 8 one match and 5 of 16 one game. So he's not only turned it around in terms of number of runs, but also strike rate. And I think the reason, Dooley, they're playing like this is something Moin has just said. He said, because we have such a long lineup, we're all being allowed to play with freedom.
Yeah.
He said there's a lot of freedom that's been given to us by this team to go out and play because we know we've got that team. I mean, Shardul Thakur could come in at number 9, for example. So I think that is what has also rubbed off on Rituraj Gaikwad. Obviously, for a young kid, to be told, don't worry, we are with you.
Yeah, correct.
And the one thing I loved about that graphic we just showed is last innings, 12 fours, no sixes. So what I was saying about his timing, he is a beautiful timer of the cricket ball. He doesn't have to bludgeon it. He doesn't have to power it over the boundary. Yeah, first one, he hit 4 sixes. No issue with that. But 12 fours, no sixes. He can still score big at a great strike rate of 170 without hitting it over the fence and hitting it all the way along the ground. So that's quality.
His sixes are not brute force, they're timing. So even though sixes are just timing. Well, our next player, who should be Trent Bolt? Yeah, so Trent Bolt's numbers. Here's Trent Bolt. Simon? Your countrymen, your trade. There you go.
Against Chennai, this is last year, 4 overs, 4 wickets, an economy of 4.50. That was at Sharjah. Trent Boult hasn't been quite as good up front this year, but he's been better at the back end. So if he's not getting you wickets with the brand new ball, which he did last year in the UAE, he was brilliant. And who'll ever forget the start to the final, the rip snorted to Stoinis that took the glove and picked him up court. So if he's not getting them up front, he's actually starting to get wickets at the back end now. I'm still not sure he's the most brilliant death bowler, but an economy rate of just under 10 when you're bowling in the last 4 overs and you picked up 6 wickets, I think that's pretty good. If you're going under 10 and you're getting a few wickets here and there in the last 4 overs for your team, I think you're doing a very good job because guys are going at 12, 15, and over at that back end. They're looking to get 12.
But not in Chennai. I mean, they were playing in Chennai. So that could be a high economy rate, though, in the back, in the death for Chennai, right? But he's getting you the wickets, I guess. So
I mean, that's averaged out over what they get 3 games at Chennai and then 2 at Mumbai. And now they're in Delhi, aren't they? So they played all 5 in Chennai. They didn't come to Mumbai. Yeah, sorry. So they played all. He's only played 1. I think he's only played 1 in Delhi. So 4. Yeah, apologies.
5, and then 1 over here. But still, he's getting it done. But they would want more from him at the top, right? They want it in the beginning, and if he can get a little, and that's also it's not his kind of surface, right? If he can get a little bit, maybe, because. I mean, he can move the ball on a string. So, Simon, if he can get a little bit of assistance, he really can, again, do stuff like what he's done against Chennai in Sharjah. He can really kind of knock the top order away. Yeah,
look, I mean, I think that the conditions last year and the conditions at Wankhede Stadium for Mumbai when they play were quite similar. And they played in Abu Dhabi quite a bit as well, didn't they? Which were really nice swinging conditions. Chennai didn't suit him a lot, but it just needs an element of swing up front. If he can get that, find that, he'll pick up wickets up front as well as at the back end. But yeah, as I say, I still don't think Harsha, he's their preferred or their real banker at the death, but they kind of feel like they have to use him there at the moment, I think.
Last year in Abu Dhabi, for example, the ball was his friend. It's I almost said it's swang. It's
swang.
He was swanging at miles.
It swung for almost 2.5 overs, which is here. If you look at that ball long enough, it'll say DRS timer, no swing. It's just not swinging this ball. So if he gets 2 or 3 to swing, so these are not easy conditions for him. Short boundaries, and you can see the change. There's one other change in Mumbai. I've just seen on the stats on the app. Last year they used 5 overseas players. This year they've used 8 already.
Oh, okay. In a game.
Were they cheating in one game? I was about to say, how did they get away with 5?
Because I thought he was talking about the champions. Do you remember the champions game? What was that? 2014? 11? Where they had five foreigners. Yeah, so this year they've used 8 because they've had that rotation, right? They've literally played musical chairs with Adam Milne, Nathan Coulter-Nile, Marco Jansen. They've done that a bit, and today it's Jimmy Neesham who's taking that slot because, as you say, 3 are definite, right? 3 are set. And this 4th one, they're kind of doing this revolving door with them. And Coulter-Nile with 1 game again. But anyway, I like Coulter-Nile. I think that he's got the hitting ability as well. But let's not. We're talking about smart picks. We're not talking about unsmart drops. Let's talk about our 3rd smart pick right now, right? And that, I don't know. Do we really? I mean, should we even, why are we even talking about him? Why? Why, Harsha? Why? Because he can negate a big weapon. He can negate a big weapon for Mumbai. That he can negate weapons everywhere. He's a 4D player, not a 3D player. He's a 4D player. Yeah. He's a bowler. He's a batsman. He's a fielder, and now he gives you with celebrations as well. So he's a 4D player, right?
Look at those numbers. If you get those numbers against Surya Kumar Yadav, last 2 years he's been sublime at number 3. 48 balls, only 37. He must know some family secrets there. I mean, I know the ball's turning away from Surya Kumar Yadav or whatever, but still, for a batsman who's in the prime of his form, playing best cricket of his life, but there's something about Jadeja since he's come back from that injury. I mean, his batting has just gone to another level. I think he's good enough to be in the top 6 today in any T20 side. Yeah. Because he's a batsman. And mine goes back to when he was just coming out of under 19, 2009, 10, around then. He said, I'm a batsman. I bowl a bit, I'm a batsman.
I got to tell you, as a consumer, sometimes I want my money back because I'm upset about Jadeja, the batsman. I feel like I expect more, I want more, and I just feel like sometimes he's not doing justice to his batting. Simon, he's a better bat than what we see. We see too little of him.
Yeah, you don't get first-class triple hundreds without being a decent player. And a very, very good player. I know he plays on one of the flatter surfaces in the country in Saurashtra, but to me, he's just a genuinely good cricketer. He's the guy you want in your team day in, day out. He gives you 4 overs. He can knock the ball out of the park. He can win your game with the bat. And I think, in any given team, even in an Indian team, he's more than good enough to bat at 6 in a World Cup. Now, if you've got enough power for him to bat at 7, then you've got a very good team. If he's batting at 7 and giving you 4 overs, he's an absolute gun in the field. We see that time and time again. Doesn't need to be talked about. But if he's batting at 7 in your team, you have got a very, very good 4, 5, 6.
I'll just add one little thing about that Rajkot wicket. It is flat, but the wicket depends on what Jadeja wants. It's a Jadeja wicket. Really? So when he was out of the team and wanted to come back into the Indian team, that wicket was different. I think he took 25 or 30 wickets in 2 games. It's a Jadeja wicket.
Okay. I love it.
So he's got power as well. He's got power as well. That's good.
Is that I don't know. Is that a conspiracy theory? Is there logic in that? Is there truth? I don't know. You guys have to go and figure it out yourselves. All right. So, this is the story that Chennai is playing unchanged. Mumbai has had those 2 changes. I just want to show you that points table 1 second, and I just want to bring attention to the domination that Chennai is. They're not just winning the games. The domination in terms of how they're winning them. Simon, that net run rate is bordering on insanity.
Yeah, it's been good, hasn't it? I mean, they've knocked over teams comfortably. When they bowled first, the game in Mumbai, when Deepak Chahar picked up 4 wickets apiece, I thought he was brilliant there. They've found a way to either knock the totals over comfortably or bowl teams out cheaply, restrict them, and then really chase and chase well. So they've got, I mean, we've talked about it, they've just got their dynamics right. They seem to, as you said, they're allowed to play with freedom. Yeah. They're okay with all of that. And it just seems quite simple for them at the moment. They're relaxed. And when you've got a captain and a coach who are probably the most relaxed in the game, in the business, they switch on when they have to, but they give their players their freedom. And they've got experience, and I think that helps hugely.
Yeah, look, last year they didn't have Raina, and Moeen Ali is doing a Raina this year, batting at 3, so he's allowing Raina to bat at 4. So I think he's brought Moeen. If I had to pick one player, I know Sir Jadeja has made a huge difference, but if I had to pick one player who's changed the way they're batting, it would actually be Moeen coming straight after the openers, a left-hander at the top of the order, the freedom. I mean, the other day he made 15 of 8. The openers had given you a great start. 15 of 8 is a 20-25 run partnership. In no time, your innings has moved forward. The innings is always moving forward with Moeen Ali.
Yeah, and you're talking about Stephen Fleming and MS Dhoni and the kind of calmness they have in terms of, their leadership group. And if you remember, I've been saying it right from the beginning that they should add another person to that leadership group whenever MS Dhoni wants to step down. And that person, in my mind, was Kane Williamson. No longer, because I was always saying that if he's not being appreciated and he's not a captain in his current team, might as well just pick him up in the auction. But hey, no longer, no more, because Hyderabad just today have announced that there's going to be a change in captain. That's right. Well, this Midsummer Night's Dream, these mid-season nightmares keep happening. They've been happening with teams every year. In 2018, it was Gigi who dropped out and Shreyas Iyer took over mid-season. There was then Rahane and Smith. The captaincy changed. Last year, of course, well chronicled, spoken about a lot. Dinesh Karthik handing over to Ewan Morgan, who had just joined the team that year. And then now it's David Warner and Kane Williamson.
I love the last
it has happened.
You see that awaited. The last column awaited, but it's win stroke loss. So what are we awaiting?
The games to happen. We are awaiting. We are awaiting for the swang to happen. Yeah. So there you go. This is. We were. By the way, I just want to tell all our viewers, we were having a very a passionate debate about the change in captaincy on our internal WhatsApp group on Cricbuzz Live. And we were kind of going here and there, and the conversation was always being derailed by Simon Doull, because Simon Doull is the derailer of conversations. But maybe because he didn't want to sound too kind of partial, because it was an Aussie versus Kiwi debate, right? So Simon's got to be very careful.
Simon impartial on a Kiwi Aussie platform.
He has to come across. He has to come across as neutral. You see, he's an analyst. He's got to come across as neutral. He can't jump the gun too much and go yes. But I think everybody's kind of looking at this, and people are not that surprised. Is that fair to say, Simon?
Look, it's a funny one for me. I don't think. I've never thought David Warner was tactically a superb captain or a really good captain. David Warner was a leader. He was a guy that would be first across the line, out there, take the fight to any team, score runs and lead from the front. So follow me and we'll be okay. And what you saw with David Warner time and time again, and in most years, was he would field it long on, long off, and Kane Williamson would be standing there. And Kane will be exchanging advice. They'd be talking about, okay, who do you think to bowl next? And I'm sure all those conversations were going on. So David Warner, as a captain, I don't think was a great captain, but he's an absolute leader. He's the sort of guy that's first in the fight, the first one across the line. He wants to lead the team and he wants to be bullish about it and go that way. And that's that's a difference. You can have leaders, you can have captains. They're all varying in those ways.
He's your ride or die. He's your ride or die kind of guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. So I think there must have been a falling out somewhere along the lines, and not with the team. I think there has to have been a falling out with the coaching structure after what he said in that game about Manish Pandey, about leaving Manish Pandey out. It was not his decision at all. He didn't want to do it clearly, and basically he passed the buck. He blamed it on someone else. Now I think he's paid the price for that.
Yeah, I've not heard. I just want to add to that, Simon. Just about selectors. The line was about selectors, which is the first time in 14 seasons that I've heard a captain say, "Oh, the selectors decide." You were like, "What? Who? What
exactly? Who are these people?"
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Harsha.
No, I was exactly on that point. Yeah. If you're playing for your national team, it's your team. The captain will hardly ever say, "The coach didn't give me the team I wanted." But in franchise cricket, there are different kinds of pressures. Look, there's Tom Moody, there's Trevor Bayliss. One is director of cricket who's responsible for results. One is the coach who's responsible for results. And I wonder whether they are now taking the call saying, you know what, we can actually, your captaincy is in our hands. We are going to decide the team. So I just wonder if there's been a shift in the power structure for somebody who has been fantastic for Hyderabad. I keep saying that David Warner, who plays for Australia, gets left behind and a different person emerges when he comes and plays for Hyderabad. Yeah, it's almost. I think.
But a leader. But to the point, what Simon is saying, that he's a leader, right? The one who comes here is a leader, but there is a difference between a leader and a captain, and that is strategy and tactics. And in terms of a tactician, you have Kane Williamson. It's almost like he's the fielding guy. It's what you said in the years when Dhoni handed the captaincy to Virat Kohli and Dhoni was still playing, right? You said that, well, he's the fielding captain, right? MS Dhoni is almost the fielding captain because where he's standing and he's running the play, right? And why would you not lean on that advice if you have it and you're taking over from that person who's probably your captaincy idol? So I guess that's what has happened. So, I mean, the jury is going to be out on this, forever, right? Because he has delivered, as Harsha pointed out, he's delivered a lot of playoffs and one title. So you will have the David Warner fans.
Mate, they made the top four, and he's been the Orange Cap winner, I think at least twice in the last 5 years. And
something's off this year. Something has just looked off.
He's not at his best, but he's still scoring runs. He's still got 50, and they didn't win a game. But I mean, they let Manish Pandey score 40 and 50 for 10 games and didn't drop him. Look, so I think there's something above, and I'm listening to what Harsha was saying. That dynamic, you sack your coach, you sack Tom Moody, you get rid of him, gone. You employ Trevor Bayliss, and then you bring Tom Moody back to oversee your cricket.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how that relationship can possibly work. Yeah. And I wonder whether 1 and 5 is a direct result of that relationship not working. Both terrific guys. Don't know Trevor anywhere near as well as I know Moods. Great bloke. Really smart cricket mind. Obviously, Trevor Bayliss is the same. But are they getting on? Is it working? I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
I only hope there isn't a personal issue somewhere, as there was when we talked about some others. So I only hope if this can rekindle Warner, the batsman, it'll still be fantastic. Because you see Warner, there's something with Virat this year as well. It's almost as if he's trying too hard. He's not getting the runs. With Warner, if this can release Warner, the batsman, it'll still have been worth it.
The press release, though, suggests that he won't even play.
Yep.
Does it? Now that's even more strange. Is there something else?
If that happens, if that happens, trust me, the show before that game, we're going to have 35 minutes of that in a 40-minute show. I guarantee you that much. Well, anyway, right now it's time for us to go. But before we do that, we have some business, which is the Joy Factor question. But I need to get a promise from Mr. Bhogle. If Joy has done one of those 16-line, 400-word questions, you're going to read it because you're sitting in the city where you went to management school. I can't read this much. So, well, let's see. What's the question? Bring it on. Come on. Oh, it's yours. No. It's yours.
The Indian record for this was set by Harbhajan Singh and L. Balaji. The Pakistan record by Saeed Ajmal and Muhammad Amir. Who has held the world record for over 3 decades now. Okay, Indian record Harbhajan and Balaji, Pakistan record Ajmal and Amir. Who's held the world record for 3 decades now?
It's a last wicket partnership.
Partnership.
He's trying to take you towards bowling and spin and pace bowler, but it's not.
Yeah, the last wicket partnership.
This is what they call a red herring, perhaps. It is a red herring. Go for batting, not for bowling. They're bowlers, I'm telling you. Well, the answer's probably come in already. That's how good some of our Cricbuzz Live viewers are. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live on Twitter. If you want to attempt the answer, of course, go for it. And if you're one of those people that didn't get the answer, then I tell you what you need. The doctor says your prescription reads Cricbuzz Plus. That's where you need to go because that's where all the premium content is in terms of written, in terms of video. We've got Mr. Bhogle here who's got a great show which is going to be coming up, Cricbuzz in Conversation. So that's going to be coming on Cricbuzz Plus as well. And for that and a lot more action, you've got to sign up and subscribe to that. All of us have. So you must do that as well. All right. Well, it's time for us to go. Last beat of business, our guessing game. We've got Chennai batting first on a Delhi wicket against Mumbai. Bring your guesses in, gentlemen. Bring your guesses in.
Julie.
High scoring game. I've just had a little peek and they haven't started very well at all. It's not good. So I'm going to go 179.
I'm looking to
179.
I was going to say exactly that number. No, we're doing too many programs together.
So are you both?
Sorry, Ash.
You also both look like you're sitting in different corners of the same room.
No, the flowers are gone. So now that's gone. I'm going 183.
183, 170. So close.
So close.
So close. Okay, then I'll go higher. I'll go 191.
But it's Delhi. You never know. You know Delhi. It could be 146 for all that you know. In Delhi, the wind might have changed.
It's Delhi. Forget the cricket. The winds are changing all the time. So that's Delhi. 191 is what my guess is. You can tell us your guesses as well on Twitter. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live. So let us know what you think will happen. We, of course, will be here at the end of the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox. That's our little update halfway through the Chennai batting effort. And I'd like to thank Mr. Harsha Bhogle, Mr. Simon Doull. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And we're going to swang out of here and swang back in 10 overs. I'm Gaurav Kapur. You were watching Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle. He doesn't make mistakes. It's good. We must catch them.